So at manomayakosha, the maximum dirt is there because that is the subjectivity. I don't like this, I like this, I love this, I hate that. That is the seat of emotions, right? Even the sensations which were pleasant in nature, like eating something or anything, those sensations are residing in the manomayakosha as memory. And that was a very pleasant memory. So the manomayakosha is able to trigger that scene again in the vigyanomaya because it loves that. So for a person who has never done the work of spiritual exploration, such a person's Vigyanamayokosha is like a victim of the manomayakosha. It is no longer of intelligence. That intelligence is now a television screen, which is basically at the whim and fancy of the manomayakosha. Okay, so let's start. So I remember last class a little bit. So in the beginning, we were discussing something about neural patterns and neuroplasticity, right? Which was a continuation of what we did previous session. I mean, previous to previous one. Raj was summarizing, and then I started to give more insights on that one and how we have infinite capacity to mold ourselves, right?
Yes.
And we should continue learning throughout our life. That was the first point I remember. Then, as we went along, I think Raj asked one question about some people who are keen to know more, learn more, grow more, and others are not so keen. So why is that, right? Am I right, Raj? Something like that.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Then I went on to answer that one in a very elaborate way. I remember that it is a grace, and we can see from horoscope also that why someone is so keen, and that is a blessing in a way. And in many ways, there is no free lunch in the universe, so they would have earned that grace by, being like that or being curious to know the truth, etc. in previous lifetimes. So in a way, they are continuing their sanskaras. So we had a long discussion about sanskaras also. Bhagavad Gita perspective I had shared, if I remember correctly. Sanskaras are something which instinctively cause us to react, think, and feel, without giving a second thought. So it's an automatic thing, right? So and why it happens? Because sanskaras are impressions upon the chitta. Chitta is the subconscious mind, or it is the tool which the soul uses to interact with life. And without chitta, we can't make sense of reality. I remember quoting Devi Puran, where it is told that Shiva cannot move even an inch without Devi's support. And I had equated Devi to energy. E is equal to MC square, I had told. Science has traveled a lot compared to the days in which these things were stated by rishis. So maybe they did not call it energy or something because they did not have the terminology, I guess. So what they did was, they classified reality into two components. They called one the Paraprakriti, which is Shiva, and they called the other the Aparaprakriti, which is the Shakti or Devi. And why they use this very weird terminology from today's perspective is that para, I mean, it appears weird, but if you look at it, it's quite accurate. So, para is transcendent. Paratit or something beyond. In Sanskrit, para means beyond. Something beyond. So, para prakriti means, it's why prakriti. And so, in a way, people say truth is Nirgun Brahman. But the same scriptures which call truth as Nirgun Brahman, they have also called it the Paraprakriti. Right. Now, people who fight, they fight because of incomplete knowledge or incomplete understanding. There's nothing to fight because rishis have very clearly told, at some point Paraprakriti, at other points Brahman or Nirgun, right? And people become confused. So this is a very important point because we are talking often about Sanatana Dharma and its principles. So Sanatana Dharma actually, they are interpreting the same elephant from multiple perspectives depending upon the objective. You know what I'm saying? So depending upon a certain class where students are present, what aspect of reality is needed to focus upon. Based upon that, they call it by a different name. But calling it by a different name doesn't mean that the reality has changed. We are calling the reality by different names because reality is so vast and so amazing that to help the student understand different aspects of it, we need to approach it from multiple perspectives. So, for example, a student who is trapped in Maya still thinks that only the physical is real and nothing exists beyond it, for that person, Aparaprakriti, or the world that we experience every day, is what is most relevant, because we are immersed in it, we are engrossed in it, we are participating in it, and there is no other perspective that is possible for us. So, for us to indicate the supreme truth, the word Paraprakriti is very appropriate. Like we are told that we are trapped in Aparaprakriti, which is kind of conditioned, and this is the Prakriti which Buddha described as, everything, is dependent upon something else. In Buddha's, explanation of reality, he told everything is false, everything is anitya, because everything in reality exists upon something else to exist. So he was very clearly and very meticulously able to identify every facet of the Apara Prakriti. And he decided that to participate in this Apara Prakriti, where everything is changing and nothing is permanent, is foolishness, because whatever you think in this objective reality is going to give you happiness is going to be taken away from you, and it is going to change the next moment. For example, today you love your girlfriend so much, but tomorrow, you may start hating her because she may have hurt you. So neither your love for her is permanent nor she is permanent for you. Or suddenly she may find someone else who she likes more. So, my girlfriend is an object. If you think that she can give you eternal happiness, you are actually living in a delusion, for example. So, like that, everything, if you analyze very deeply, everything is changing, hence cannot give satisfaction. And hence, Buddha dismissed everything as sansara, everything is changing, and it's better to not engage with it too much and just find that nirvana, which is some state of mind where you are not attached to anything, right? Something like that. But in our Sanatana Dharma, they say that no, there is another reality also, which is so beautiful, so sublime, so divine, that it is worth striving to attain, and that is immortal. Whole Bhagavad Gita is singing praises of that supreme reality. Krishna himself is claiming that I represent that reality. I am that reality. And that I am that Paraprakriti, and everything is contained within me, Aparaprakriti. So that is one thing I think, we had kind of discussed in some way. But exactly in what sense, I'm not able to recall. I'm trying to recall. Did we discuss something about transcendent reality in the last class? I think we did not, no? No. Then why I'm telling all this, I don't know. I started from where? Can you help me?
You started with Raj's question in the previous class as a summary, and then his question was on how to, what is the motivation of a person to, deal, live in this particular manner? Why would a person look for things like spirituality, and what can.
Yeah, so I had answered that in a great detail. Can you tell me a few points what I had shared? One, I remember horoscope can tell, and another I had told that such people will make great development, and those who don't. Yeah, I told something about gravity. I remember. No, everything is being pulled down. So what doesn't go up goes down.
Goes down.
I remember saying that.
Sir, before that, you also spoke about how samskaras are formed. So you said that samskaras are formed by memories and experiences. So that is how we started. So this was your response to my question in terms of why some people take pain in developing cognitive ability, why some people not. So then you said memories and experiences. You also spoke about the resilience, how people demonstrate never give up attitude. Then we discussed about Rishi's horoscope, moon in Ardra, and how the change of samskaras can be changed by changing the.
This I had forgotten completely. Yes.
Yeah, the soul level reaction is what you spoke.
So yeah, because I discussed about horoscope, that is why I brought Rishi horoscope into picture.
Mm-hmm.
So idea is that yes, sanskaras are very strong and they are very strongly grafted onto the chitta, but still we should not give up. So I was telling that we as spirit or divine souls, we should be able to let go of the past. We should be able to let go of tendencies coming from the past, because in the present moment the reality that is unfolding is completely fresh, completely new. So if we live from the past, in a way we have automatic reactions, conditioned reactions. That is how I went to sanskaras, which also are described in our literature, ancient literature, which kind of program our consciousness. And then I had told that no, but it is not true that sanskaras are not possible to refine or reevaluate or remodify or something like that. So it is always possible to do something with our life situation if we really apply our mind and our will to it. That is where resilience comes in. So, for example, I remember that I used to teach this in happiness course. Whether I taught when Saschit was a student or not, I don't remember, but I will share. So there are three shaktis or powers that are given to the soul. And these are Iccha Shakti, Kriya Shakti and Jnana Shakti. And these three are very important shaktis. So we as intelligent people have to be able to utilize these three shaktis for our benefit, for our development. Okay. Now, see, our ancient rishis, they had figured out virtually everything that is relevant for self-development and for, a happy life and for even ultimately breaking through the matrix and liberating oneself from completely all the traces of the past. So in a way, why I brought Aparaprakriti and Paraprakriti intuitively is because of this thing that, see, we live in a reality which is kind of a, how do I put it, in a multi-layered reality, multi-dimensional reality, where there is nothing like a fixed objective world. Even, the objective world which appears so hard and firm and fixed is actually not so hard and firm and fixed. It appears like that because our subjective apparatus is very rigidly created. Like this body, for example, and the sense organs in the body, and the fact that you have a brain which works in a certain way. These are so strong, and we are so strongly identified with them that the corresponding reality appears to be the only reality. For example, I remember now, one particular scientist, his name was Thorndike. Now, Thorndike, had claimed, I hope that I have got the name correct. Okay. I may be wrong about the name, but I think I am correct, Thorndike. I can't verify right now, but anyway, name doesn't matter. The statement matters more. He made a very, profound statement according to his understanding and according to his fellow scientists that whatever exists in some quantity. And this, he believed, is an axiomatic statement. Now, what is an axiomatic statement? Axiomatic statements are statements which are supposed to represent absolute truth. So, in a way, if you look at modern empirical science, positivistic school of science, in which our modern PhD programs belong, all PhD programs belong there, modern research belongs there. This is an axiomatic statement. If something exists, it exists in some quantity. Okay. So this is a very important statement for science. If you can't show me or if you can't measure something, then that cannot exist by definition. It's a corollary, to this axiom. If something has to exist, it has to exist in some quantity. Then if something cannot be shown to have a quantity or cannot be measured, by definition, it cannot exist. Right? And that is why the positivistic science or empirical science is so obsessed about measurement. With these quantitative research methods, Shaju, Raj, you'll appreciate this, being PhD scholars. So we are so obsessed about them as if, as if this statement is absolutely true. But what if something may exist and may exist in quantity also, but its quantity may not be relevant and its quality may be more relevant. And not only that, it may be the last layer of this reality. And what if the reality is structured in such a way that subjective consciousness trapped in a lower level layer cannot perceive a higher layer reality? If that is how the reality is structured, then even though you are right in saying that whatever exists in some quantity, still you may not be absolutely right, because there may exist something, though it may be in a quantity, but it is beyond your perception, and hence the question of Perceiving it doesn't arise. Forget about measuring it. How about that? What if reality is too mysterious for your understanding? Did you follow what I'm saying? It's a very complex thing I'm saying. What if something exists, means exists in some quantity, it's right. But what if something exists in some quantity, but it cannot be measured? Forget measuring, it cannot be even perceived by you. Then what? Then you will say, no, I will try to discover a measuring instrument or a detecting instrument, a microscope or telescope or some scope, which will be able to register this mysterious reality. So even if you see quantum physics is intuiting a quantum field. No one has seen the quantum field. No one has perceived the quantum field. No one has detected the quantum field. It's only an intuition. Why this intuition is there? Because when they go deeper and deeper and deeper into material reality, ultimately they reach what Buddha called the void, emptiness. And from the emptiness, everything seems to spring. Right? So the level to which Buddha penetrated through his intellect and meditation, to the same level science has penetrated through the modern scientific tools and measurement techniques. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
But if reality is only a void or emptiness, which is so mysterious and which is so whimsical that it produces a basketball where we want it to be, then are we really living in a very trustworthy reality, or is it a very very magical glass house or palace of mirrors? I don't know how to put it, which is very frightening and very 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 strange. And if that is the case, then what is the point of life? Is there any purpose to life? If in the end everything is void only, emptiness only, then what is the point of life? Why are we unnecessarily struggling so much? Huh? Let us just give up in despair and say everything is ultimately void only. What is the point? My wife is a void, my son is a void, I am a void, everything is a void. So, in a way, it's a very pessimistic worldview, right? That is why I feel, and I not only feel, I know for a fact that it is not true. Without bringing happiness into the picture, nothing makes sense. That is why I teach happiness for so many years. Without bringing positive emotions into the picture, nothing makes sense. Last class I told cognitions are more important than emotions, right? But today I'm changing myself. I'm telling no. Ultimately, it is the positive emotions which are the reason for existence. So am I contradicting myself? No, I'm again approaching reality from a different angle now. So what I'm saying, let me try to help you understand. What I'm saying is, I'm not a madman, okay? What I'm trying to say today is that do you want to be happy or unhappy? Tell me.
Happy.
Happy.
Happy, right? Right, happy. So, do you want to be only a brain with no feelings, or you want to be happy person with good brains?
I think happy person with good brains.
That is the point. Okay. So cognition is important, and it is true that without interpreting, emotions will not happen. But we want good emotions all the time, which is possible to attain if we have a good cognitive apparatus, which is able to interpret reality with great clarity, with least amount of error. And apparatus which is wise enough to understand that I cannot cognize everything. So that brings humility. So am I saying that I know everything in the universe? No, I don't know everything in the universe. But I have reached a level of understanding where my understanding is very deep, and it is deep enough to know my limitations. And that doesn't frustrate me, that gives me a lot of excitement for future growth. If this much I can see and this is giving me so much joy, if I could see much, much more, how much joy I will get. That is what is the secret of my enthusiasm, for example, personally speaking. And if I have, so much clarity now, how much it will be when I will grow a little bit more in future. So, it is the joy of a growing plant, you can say. So I have touched the substratum, which is Brahman, that is the Paraprakriti, and I, the Jiva, Rajiv, am growing in consciousness, literally by leaps and bounds, day by day. And that is my joy. So consciousness is important. Without consciousness, you have only emptiness. And that is why, Sai Baba said that unless you develop a devotion for God, love for God, you will only meet the void. Because God is so mysterious that He will not reveal Himself to a non-lover. Okay, that's why, Rumi called him the beloved. Okay, Amma calls him the beloved. Okay, so Amma says that once you attain unity with the beloved, there's only light, love, joy, and peace. Okay, that's how it is. She doesn't say emptiness, she says light, love, joy, and peace. And you're filled with compassion for the fellow beings. Because if they could also see what you are able to see or experience what you're able to experience, they also will be filled with light, love, joy, and peace. So there is a purpose to life. I don't know. I've said a lot of things. I mean, how you make sense of what I just said last, I don't know how much time, maybe 25 minutes. And you can express your feelings, connecting it to previous sessions also, a couple of sessions also.
Sir, in fact, what you shared in the last 10-15 minutes definitely makes sense, because we are, to me, I'm sure Saschit and Shaju would also agree with me, because last week we spoke about the importance of making the distinction between four aspects, that is information, knowledge, skill, and awareness. So now I'm trying to connect this back to the awareness
Yeah,
portion of it, which you spoke to us. And then, sir, you also spoke about the law of life. Should we stop learning? Should we think that the relationship, everything is void and keep quiet, or it goes beyond that? So to that point, sir, you answered it in the last class stating the law of life is to reduce the ignorance. So what happens by reducing the ignorance? It reduces the pain. What happens after reducing the pain? It leads to the happiness. So end of the day, all human beings are naturally instincted or naturally designed to seek for happiness. So I think whatever we discussed in the last 10-15 minutes, I think it
it,
goes
it relates. It relates to that.
relates to
It
that.
relates to that. See, we cannot escape, three things: cognition, emotion, and sensation. Why? Because they correspond to three important aspects of our reality, or the what I am, what you are. I'm a body, yes, sensation. I'm a heart or feeling aspect, so emotion. I'm a consciousness trying to make sense of the reality, and that is what is cognition, right? So these three things we can never escape: cognition, sensation, and emotion. The point I'm trying to make is sensation is automatic. If I touch fire, I will feel heat. There is nothing I can do about it, right? If I touch ice, I will feel cold. So sensation is a given. No need to worry about it, right? Am I right? So that only helps me to keep my body safe and secure and comfortable. Okay. That's the only role of sensation. But if you become a victim of sensory pleasure too much, let's say someone like hedonists believe in that. What is happiness? Sense pleasure. If you are eating a good payasam and drinking very good coffee, tea, very good food every day, sleeping on a velvety bed, etc., in a AC room, that is what happiness is for a hedonist, right? But actually, it is a unbalanced perspective. It is overemphasizing only one aspect of life, that is sensation. Are you following me? It is unbalanced perspective because it considers life as unidimensional, and that is sensation. But sensation is only one part of a multi-part reality. As I just demonstrated to you, body corresponds to sensation. So if purpose of life is only sense pleasure, then you are neglecting emotions and cognition. So are you saying that a buffoon, a fool, a stupid donkey, just having a nice time physically is better off than a very great philosopher? Is it true? Does it appeal to you?
No, sir.
Someone eating kachori and whatever and telling you are a bloody fool thinking so much. He is a stupid guy. All that kachori has gone to the brain. Okay. So that is what I'm saying. So no, we need to examine each hypothesis produced by so many different eras and epochs and civilizations and let go of all of them. Why? Because we don't want to be trapped in those false worldviews. So sense pleasure is not the only source of happiness. Sense pleasure is what it is, pleasure. So that is why pleasure is not the highest form of happiness. And if you see the hierarchy goes from body to emotions to cognition and then to spirit. Right. I remembered in my PhD thesis, I have written this. In my thesis, I have written this. That there is a fourfold hierarchy: body, emotions, then cognition, and then the spirit. Okay. And then I had posited that the spirit aspect is correlated with self-actualization that Maslow had claimed to be the apex need of human beings. Okay. In my thesis, I had argued like that. Okay. Now, before me, I have never seen anyone give this hierarchy. People have told that life is fourfold: body, cognition, emotions, and sensations. Sorry, sensations, emotions, cognitions, and spiritual urge. People have given this, but I have told it is a hierarchy. Okay. Now, I did not give the justification for my hierarchy because I was submitting my thesis to a Western audience. Because, positivistic science is very Western paradigm oriented field, and I had to get my thesis and PhD because being a simple human being, I need my career also at that point of time. But the basis for what I said is given already in our scriptures. So Panchamayakosha theory, the soul is encased in 5 sheaths. Kosha means sheath. So the Atman or the soul or the God inside me is encased in 5 sheaths. The grossest or the most exterior sheath is the Anandamaya. So I'm traveling from out to in. Just you have to go within. So I'm going within now. Okay. So I'm going within. So from where I am going within? From the surface of my body. I'm a body, right? And I'm thinking. Now, using my thought process, I went in, and using my powers of concentration, I went in, and this is what I discovered. I'm speaking on behalf of the rishis who discovered. So they discovered that underneath this body, which is Anandamaya. Why Anandamaya? Because this body is made of food. Food that I eat gets processed and becomes matter, which is my body. Right? Science doesn't deny that. So, because all the cells of my body are made from the food that I'm eating, food, water, and air that I'm eating, drinking, and I'm breathing, right? So, that is true. Then, as I go within, I find pranamaya. So, I notice that my body, every cell is permeated with energy. Without energy, metabolic processes or any process will not happen. So, that energy sheath, they call the pranamaya. No, we feel sometimes very high energy, sometimes we feel very low energy, isn't it? Why it is like that? Because when the energy sheath is depleted, we feel weak. When it is supercharged with energy, we feel strong. So energy sheath, pranamaya. Then as we go within further, we find the manomaya, the seat of emotions, the seat of desires, the seat of likes and dislikes. So you see, what I did in my thesis was I clubbed body and energy into one as the sensation or the body, right? And then going forward, I posited that emotions are the second layer and higher than the body. So what is now looking at spiritual science, what is more within is higher. What is more without is lower. Why? Because what is subtler is more important. What is grosser is less important. Vivekananda also said that same thing. What is subtler is controlling the grosser. So you want to be the controlled one or you want to be the controller? Who is happier? The one who is controlled or who is controlling? Tell me.
Who's controlling?
So the one who is controlling is free. The one who is controlled is in bondage. So by definition, if you remain at the body level, a hedonist, enjoying your sensory pleasures, you are a bloody fool. Tomorrow you'll develop diabetic. You will be prevented from eating sugar, and then hypertension. You can't eat salt. You know what I'm saying? And then some ulcers will come up in the skin. You can't sleep on the velvety bed, and you can't turn on the AC because you will start coughing. You will become extremely sick. Why? Because you think only body is reality. But you don't know body has a limitation, it has a limit. And that limit is set by the pranamaya kosha. The pranamaya kosha, you eat, right? Your job is done. You eat. But the moment your job is done, the stomach's job begins. Stomach has to digest it, liver has to digest it. Kidney has to filter out the toxins that you have taken along with your food. Is it not true? So these organs have a certain energy which power them. But if these organs are given too much work, over time they become tired. Wear and tear sets in. You can make sense, no? It's very simple, no? And then disease will come. Now with more tired stomach, if you keep eating the way you have been eating, then what happens? Slowly toxins will increase more and more. Cells will die quicker and quicker. You'll grow older faster and faster. Illnesses will come. Once stomach starts to struggle, the liver will give way. Once both start to struggle, the kidney will give way. And then they will call the person died of multiple organ failure. In the hospital, they will tell like that. But why it happened? Because the person became more and more fatigued from inside. So you lived at the surface level, body level, and the energy level you didn't take care. Is it not? So that is why, fitness has become so important these days. What is fitness? Being energetic. That is fitness. Am I right or wrong? Tell me. So this is how it is. So your sensation corresponds to body. How you use your body corresponds to how long you can retain your energy and youthfulness. That is intelligence, by the way. Okay. Then as you go deeper, your emotions take over. The world of subjectivity. Your feelings, good mood, bad mood, good feelings, bad feelings. Now there what happens is that at emotions level, we become little bit mad. I hate someone means I will not forgive no matter what, even if the person died. So there what happens is we become irrational. We lose the awareness of the fact that this person is no longer here. We lose awareness of the fact that we are now living in a different moment of time. That time when that person offended or hurt you has gone. You can do nothing about it. So this brings to you the limitations of the emotional aspect of life. The emotional aspect of my being is not able to discriminate between the present moment and the past, the present moment and the future. Or it may worry to death or worry me to death. I die basically. Okay. It will worry so much about the future that it will cause ulcers and whatnot, hypertension and whatnot, and kill me in the process. So here again you see whether it is worrying about the future or it is attached to the past, the emotional aspect of my life is basically crazy. It is giving its power away of using the present moment to solve and meet the life's challenges. Present moment is meant for me to reassess myself and reassess the reality. So I told last class we have to let go of the past, right? Why we have to let go of the past? We have to let go of the past because we have to realize that past is irrelevant. In the new present moment, it's a new life, a new opportunity for me to rewrite everything. It is easier said than done, okay? I'm saying it so simply, but to achieve this takes lot of tapas, lot of effort. You see, you will notice that my videos, some people are watching very deeply and they are getting attached, but very few. Why? Because what I'm saying demands tremendous effort. I have no magic pill which I can give. What I can give is only awareness and understanding. But then the student has to practice what I'm saying. Now, if you say, no, I will not forgive, no matter what I say or I teach, then it is your decision. But then you understand that what your decision is telling me about you. My decision, your decision is telling me that you are immature, you are irrational. You are not able to follow the hierarchy where cognition stands higher than the emotion. I'm again reversing myself. I'll explain, don't worry. In the hierarchy, as I'm going within from outside, you see Anandamaya, then pranamaya, then the manomayakosha. But it is mad. Manomayakosha is mad, fellow. It is clinging to its emotions. It is clinging to its worries and anxieties. It is clinging to the belief I am helpless. Future will kill me. It's a belief only, no? How will future kill you? How do you know? No, my boss will shout at me. How do you know he will shout at you, first of all? And why he is your boss? God knows. Why you are staying with him? Oh, where I will go, where I will find a new job. Are? Why you will not find a good job? Because I am incompetent. But how you are incompetent? Why you are incompetent? Oh, I did not develop myself. You see? Why did not develop yourself? Because I am a foolish person. I have wasted my time and energy, whole life. But why you have wasted? Oh, I got caught by my sense pleasures. I got caught by my emotional dramas. So you have become a victim of life. Law of karma operates on you. Are you following what I'm saying? Where I'm going? I am trying to highlight the stupidity of most of the mankind. So if you think you are the body and you are the sense organs and you are your emotions, you are actually caught up in Maya. That is why cognition stands higher in the hierarchy. So cognition is called Vigyanamayokosha. In Panchakoshas theory, Anandamaya, pranamaya, manomayakosha, Vigyanamayokosha. So Vigyanamayokosha is the intellectual seat. Your intellect, your brains come into play. You analyze reality. You analyze the objective situation in the present moment using your intellect. And then you choose a response. You don't react automatically. You respond. So, at the level of cognition, you will find two types of people. Those who have failed to reach this level and hence react. So, in a way, their intellect is a servant of the emotional aspect of their constitution. The third layer, the manomayakosha, is ruling the fourth layer, the vigyanomaya. Now, vigyanomaya, everyone is experiencing, every human being is experiencing, because every human being thinks. I'm right? Every human being thinks. But how well you think, that is the problem. How clearly you think. One day Saschit told, no, clarity is very important to Saschit, right? That is why clarity is an important quality. I endorsed him. Yes, very good. Why? Because clarity is a quality of cognitive apparatus. And that should be the driver of the ship of life. Because unless the cognitive apparatus is functioning nicely, you will get trapped more and more deeply into Maya, into delusion. What is Maya? Maya is illusion. And what it does to you? It causes you to suffer delusions. What is a delusion? Mrigasira, I discussed once. Delusion is you think something can give you happiness, but it cannot in reality. You think something is the cause of your pain or misery, but you are mistaken in your assumption. You think I am justified in hating this person because he insulted me, but you are not justified in reality because he insulted you because you insulted him earlier, which you don't remember. So your hate is also because of lack of awareness, your lack of ability to reach sufficiently back in time. Now again, I'm saying past is irrelevant. Past is relevant and irrelevant. Past is relevant because law of karma operates, so I can't help it. And past is irrelevant because if I want to go beyond law of karma, I have to make the past irrelevant for my cognitive apparatus. Am I making sense? I will take a. It's very complicated. Shaju, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You demonstrated. No, you forgave your friend, right? I remember.
Yes, sir.
Why you forgave your friend?
I cannot correlate it with respect to the facts which you mentioned right now, sir. That past is relevant or irrelevant. That is not what I considered at that point in time. I acknowledge the fact that if something happened, something might have happened certainly wrong from my side also. Why don't I acknowledge my mistake? And over a period of time, I really don't believe the intensity with which I started that hatred was not available in my mind. And meanwhile, you mentioned this statement. It pinched me, in fact. And I came across this LinkedIn profile and I correlated these two things. That's it.
But now can you relate that one can be cognitively also more aware and consciously forgive everyone, not only this friend?
Yes, sir. Sure.
What I'm trying to say, I'm expanding the scope of the understanding. Just as forgiving one person gave you a little bit extra happiness, if you could forgive everyone else, then what will happen?
It would certainly give more pressure, sir.
More happiness, right?
Yes, sir.
So that is what is the role between cognition and emotion. If emotion rules cognition, we become more and more frustrated over time, more and more gripped by karma, because we are like a madman. We are reacting wildly, in the grip of emotions, and they're creating more and more horrendous karmas. And more our cognition is getting kidnapped by the karmas. So much so that at one point of time, soul is completely suffocated by wildness and wild assumptions and wild beliefs, and you are like a mad criminal. Okay. So there are people like that. So what happened to them? They let the manomayakosha become too strong. That is why emotions are most important. Why? Because your subjective experience of life is governed by your emotions. So your happiness is basically a subjective emotion. Okay. But you cannot attain this happiness unless you clearly discriminate between what will be a good response and what will be a bad response to this current situation that I'm facing in present moment. Unless you are able to use discrimination to understand your mistakes in the past, unless you re-examine everything that you have done, not event by event, but categories of events. For example, forgiveness. So inability to forgive is one category of a behavior, or inability to let go of nostalgia, is a category in its own. Like that, no, category by category, you examine different types of events and you let go of them. You let them go. How? By using your reason. It may not happen in one day, but you still force yourself to let go again and again. You use visualization, you use meditation, you use mantra chanting, you go to Sadhgurus, seek their blessings. People like Amma, you go to Amma and seek her blessings, that Amma, please give me the strength to let go of this or let go of that. Now, masters will always help when you ask such you make such prayers. They're very happy to grant you such prayers because you are spiritually growing. You are demonstrating the spiritual growth process. So spiritual growth starts the moment you start examining your assumptions. You start examining your beliefs, your values, your behaviors, your attitude. Okay. This is a very important point I made today. So spiritual process starts at that moment without bringing the Vigyanamayokosha into action. Spiritual process cannot start. Right now, what I am doing? I am exercising my Vigyanamayokosha and helping you to exercise your Vigyanamayokosha right now, which is the cognitive apparatus. Am I right? And why you are enjoying this process is because all of you are bright enough to understand the power of cognition over emotions. All of you are gaining in happiness day by day, clarity in day by day. That is why you keep coming to this class. Because more clarity is giving you more happiness. See, mind is conscious and unconscious, both. More conscious the mind becomes, less unconscious it becomes. What doesn't go up goes down, as I told in the last class. So if you don't become more conscious, you will become more unconscious. Which one you want to choose? Becoming more unconscious, you don't need to choose. You just need to start living blindly again without paying attention to anything. Just keep reacting again. Go back to watching TV again. Go back to playing video game again. Go back to eating whatever you like again. You again become unconscious. So climbing a mountain top is such a arduous thing. But from falling from there, it takes 1 second only. Just sleep and you go. Once you sleep, you're gone. It's like that. Spiritual progress is also like that. Vishwamitra, no, did 10,000 years of tapasya to reach a certain stage. And Menaka came and destroyed everything in 1 second. A famous story, no, Vishwamitra Menaka story. Okay, so it's falling is very easy. And the whole universe will conspire to make you fall. That is the role of Maya. Because when Maya trapped Shiva, she told, you are my husband, okay, you have to beat me. You have to really beat me. Otherwise, I'll not let you go. We are Shiva, trapped in her clutches. It's a very mysterious way or funny way of stating our consciousness, describing our current state. So I have reached Vigyanamayokosha and I have established its supremacy over the manomayakosha if we want to break free from our ignorance. And more the ignorance, more the pain, as I told last class. Raj reminded me, right? So that is the fourth layer. Then beyond that is Anandamayakosha, the bliss seat. It's called the bliss seat because, as you can notice, by the time we reach bliss seat, we have transcended the human drama. Now there is no cognition, no emotion, no sensation, no physical reality. We are deep in meditation, engrossed in the self, enjoying the bliss of the self, Atman. It's called samadhi. Okay. So only way to experience bliss sheet is samadhi, to attain samadhi. Now, how many people can attain samadhi? Maybe very few on the whole planet. And those people who experience samadhi clearly again and again, they are the really happy people because they know the nature of the bliss and they intuit the nature of the Atman, the supreme truth. That is why, in the temple, the deity is situated so far into the inner recess of the temple, in a garbhagriha, which is dark, semi-lit only. And it is so small, the deity is so small generally. In a good ancient temple, deity is very small. Because it's very difficult to, I have told in the earlier classes, in the temple as we enter, it's like the world, tamasa outside, something selling something and something selling something. And then as you go in, you take a bath, then, I have told that earlier. Like that, inner journey is like that. The outer courtyard is this body and the reality it shows. And then as we go within, it becomes more and more abstract and more difficult to penetrate. Right. So this is the hierarchy of life. More inner you reach, higher you have reached. Now, what is inner? Inner is deeper, right? Which means deeper is higher. Higher is not deeper. Reverse is not true. The whole Western world is suffering from this delusion that higher is deeper. Richer is happier. More is better. It's a foolishness. In a limited earth, how is more better? With a limited body, how is more better? You enjoy more and more, right? What happens? When the night time comes, you don't want to sleep. Okay, you want to sing and dance the whole night. You will see youth these days doing it, right? 3 days you dance whole night and take drugs, okay? And don't sleep. 24/7, you just enjoy. Fourth day, if I come to your house to take you with me to the bar, will you come with me? Or you want to sleep now? Are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This example demonstrates the limitation of the sensation, the physical self. Body will die, it will collapse. This proves that the physical pleasure is not the real bliss because bliss will always make you more energetic. Pleasure is going to deplete you ultimately. Now, if you follow modern science, you will learn that this enjoyment that you are experiencing is dopamine. Brain releases a substance called dopamine. Addictive, pleasure, basically is because of dopamine. But when you have to sleep, the brain releases another hormone called melatonin. And that requires darkness for it to be able to induce sleep in you. And the brain has to become still and quiet. But if you listen to rock music and you dance in a bar at 3 o'clock in the night, melatonin will release, but it will be overpowered by the tremendous release of dopamine. So in a way, what is happening? You are fighting a war in your own brain. Brain says you sleep because body clock is demanding that you sleep. But your chitta or manomayakosha aspect of the chitta has become so wild with intoxication that it doesn't want to sleep. Cognition is missing here. You see what I'm saying? So modern life is trying to create happiness out of only the first 3 sheets. In fact, the first and the third seat, energy no one bothers about. I will take a pause here. So can you decode it for me, Sachit, Raj, Saju? What is it there in what I shared for the modern youth? What I'm sharing about well-being.
Sir, I was thinking on, when you started, even before the sheets that you were talking about, you were asking about the relevance about, you said in your previous class, you mentioned that intelligence, the manomayakosha, is much more important than the emotions. And in this class, you were happy to say that the context is different and you're approaching it in a different perspective. And hence you were able to say that, emotions is much more important in that context. And the context change was because emotion was the driving force, meaning to say happiness is what we spoke about. If we were not all seeking happiness, then it wouldn't have been the driving force or the purpose of existence. So in that context, that emotion was on a higher hierarchy. But when we come into actual understanding of, you explain to explain that one aspect, I think you gave a elaborate again recap of all the 5 sheets that we spoke about, right from our outermost layer, which is the Anandamaya, then the pranamaya, manomayakosha. So in that hierarchy, it is very evident and clear that the intellect precedes, or rather intellect is much more important in the hierarchy. If we talk about hierarchy, in our mind a picture comes like a pyramid which is topping upwards, because the word itself is about higher. But the contrast and clarity that you shared, that the sheets are actually going within, it is falling within, stepping, going within is higher. That was a beautiful clarity which I'm trying to just hold on to, because it was all these very, very extremely subtle aspects. It's just so beautiful and very insightful that it gives a lot of meaning. It opens another kind of another shade of entire life itself, is what I feel. So when you were saying about, so in this case that the intellect, or which is being more important, or cognition actually, which is more important. It is more important because you are rising above the drama of the emotions. You also explained that emotions can make you, only emotions in the context of manomayakosha, it's also the desires. So desires, emotions, feelings, all of it is only driving you to a certain extent. And there can be a lot of conflict and, unnecessary attachments or clinginess to it. But when we are clear about if we are more aware about the manomayakosha, which is to know what is better for me, to know which is the highest good for me, that will fall under the manomayakosha. So only when I understand that, or understanding this aspect itself, that cognition is important than the emotions. When that itself is understood, it gives us a way, it helps us to transcend that. About, you also gave the example about forgiveness as a category. Only when we are making efforts and putting efforts into knowing that, instead of holding grudge or feeling guilt or all these other lower dimensions, lower emotions that we have, which will no more be relevant itself to any context later on. There's no point. So it's easy to forgive. But what made that easiness to forgive is only when I was able to understand and cognize that this is the reason that it makes no relevance now. The time has gone, it's past, that moment has gone, and there's no other need for it.
Also, it may not be so easy in the beginning to forgive, but we know why we are making attempts to forgive.
Yeah.
So maybe, like any exercise, we start with people who are easier to forgive. Maybe, who are more remote to my core. And then slowly we come to the core. So in the core part, there may be 2 or 3 people who I find very difficult to forgive. No, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe one classmate in standard 2, she did not give me her eraser and I had lent her the pencil the previous day. That kind of a thing you can forgive easily, right? But
Yeah.
slowly you forgive such small things what you remember, and slowly move to the core patterns where you say, no matter what, I cannot forgive my father who ran away, leaving my mother behind. For example, that is a more tough one to forgive, but then I will forgive that also. Because here there is no father, and completely absent father is ruining my present moment.
With this example, I also remembered one more thing which I shared with Vidhi and we discussed. I just remembered the example. It is easy for us to sometimes, for example, love, right? It's easy for us to love a stranger. It is easy for us to give when we give away. We happily give away to any stranger, or even to fall in love, not about falling in love, but to, for example, it's a tertiary circle of our relative, and they reciprocate in a very good manner that, hey, hi, come, welcome, and all of it. It's easy for us to, be open and loving to them. But if you have to establish the same thing to your first circle, where a certain particular family members are there, but we have a lot of judgments about those people, which you already collected until now, right? All the other experiences that we have. So over there, to demonstrate that same love becomes little, troublesome. It's not very easy. But to establish or to demonstrate that love with anyone else in the world, it's very easy because I don't have any judgments, or I don't carry any preset emotions about these people. So what this clarity is, if I'm able to see both of these things, only clarity about the manomayakosha is, okay, what is stopping me between these? I have been the same person. I have been the same loving person to a stranger, but when I'm trying to demonstrate that same love to a known family person also, it's difficult because of the emotional drama which would have happened, and I've collected that data.
Because in your manomayakosha, there is a knot or vritti, a stronger vritti. Patanjali calls it, vritti.
Okay.
The stronger vritti which needs to be eradicated or dissolved. It's a knot, like a knot in the, chitta. So it has to be dissolved with power of awareness.
Yeah. So even by understanding this, what you said, no, sir.
Yeah. So the understanding or cognitive clarity is the doorway to awareness. The other day I told, understanding is very useful, but awareness is more powerful.
Yeah.
So that is what I meant. Without understanding, awareness will not come to you. And without awareness coming to you, no matter how much you try, you will not be able to forgive. So awareness is a presence of what? Presence of the Supreme Truth. Divinity. So divinity cannot flow in to a place where it needs to flow in unless you become aware of the necessity of letting go of a false thing or a useless thing. I interpret it because it's a very important technical point. It is relevant to all meditators and all spiritual seekers. Life is very, very rigorous and very, very scientifically it operates. Your whims and fancies and beautiful or ugly notions will have no bearing upon reality as it is. Whether an innocent child slips or a criminal slips from a height, they both will fall to their death if the height is very huge. So the height and the earth and gravity don't care about innocence or beauty. They operate with tremendous rigor. That's what I'm saying. So if you really want to be happier, there is no other way but to forgive. Now, whether you will be able to forgive or not able to forgive is the only problem that you have now. Now, it's a relevant problem for you because now you know the benefit of forgiving, for example. But if you did not know about it, then what happens? You will be remaining ignorant only. That is avidya. Why vidya is so important? We are right now, dealing in vidya. We are sharing knowledge, right? This is vidya. Goddess Saraswati rules this, right? So we are learning cognitively the importance, the value, the modalities, the methodologies of doing this. Cleaning of the chitta. But without cleaning of the chitta, yoga cannot happen. Yoga with the inner divinity. So you see Patanjali Yoga Sutra, what is the first sutra Patanjali says? Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. What is yoga? Yoga is the dissolution of or Eradication of the vrittis in the chitta. That is the first sutra of the great book Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, which is the Bible for all yogis. Yoga subject depends upon Patanjali Yoga Sutras, right? The most important text for all yogis, right? First statement it makes is yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. That is what we are doing. So Atman is in beyond 5 seats in its own majestic dimension. But to be able to tap that Atman, we need to go beyond all these 5 seats and make them less dirty. So at manomayakosha, the maximum dirt is there because that is the subjectivity. I don't like this, I like this, I love this, I hate that. That is the seat of emotions, right? And not only that, even the sensations which were pleasant in nature, like eating something or anything, those sensations are residing in the manomayakosha as memory. And that was a very pleasant memory. So the manomayakosha is able to trigger that scene again in the vigyanomaya because it loves that. So for a person who has never done the work of spiritual exploration, such a person's Vigyanamayokosha is like a victim of the manomayakosha. It is no longer of intelligence, it's only a television screen. Are you following me? That intelligence is now a television screen, which is basically at the whim and fancy of the manomayakosha. Manomayakosha now wants to eat a golgappa, okay? So it starts to imagine that scene when it was eating golgappa, maybe in some place in Kolkata, where they make delicious golgappas, and suddenly you start to salivate, and you feel the urge to go and eat the golgappa. And Vigyanamayokosha is desperate now to go and eat the golgappa. So Vigyanamayokosha is completely, it has become a slave, So only way the intelligence is functioning now is how to reach there quickly, how to get enough money to get it, whether I should steal or beg or murder. It is also thinking, but thinking which is perverted. The master has become the slave. Raj, your comments on this?
Sir, while you are sharing all this, I'm trying to connect the dots from the question that you asked in terms of what are your thoughts on the youth. So ideally speaking, as per the nature, only owl is the only species which should be awake in the night. But you also gave an answer to us in one of the oldest classes in terms of why owl should be awake in the night, because it is nothing but it is representing conscious being Lakshmi's Vahana. But today it is very unfortunate that the youth is awake in the night. There are two reasons for somebody to be awake in the night. One, it must be a duty, or it is for sensual pressure. So what does it mean when I say a duty? It's, a medical practitioner, a staff nurse, a driver who is awake in the night to do their job. So it makes sense because they're following the dharma, vritti dharma. On the other side, the youth is awake, because of maya. They're consuming maya. So it's very threatening and it's very scary to me. See, despite making so much of efforts to attend your classes and learn something and purify our chitta, still we are struggling somewhere in the juggle of life, in the environment of life, to come out of those and reach the higher state of consciousness. But it's very unfortunate to see that youth is actually, going in the wrong direction. They're going outwards, meaning they're not coming inside. They're not going inside of their koshas, the power of 10, what we saw, right? So more you go deeper, meaning you are more being conscious. Yes, sir. So some of these thoughts were coming while Saschit and you were discussing about.
No, so new mantra is deeper is higher.
Yes.
Higher is not deeper. Higher is maya. Higher in the outer environment, status and this and that. Then you'll worry about whether you're offered a chair or not offered a chair, whether they welcome you or not welcome. That is superficial. Who cares? I don't care. Your happiness is dependent upon whether other people acknowledge you or not. And acknowledge what? Your physical presence. So you are caught up so much in the physical maya. Your self-image in the head. What is that? It's only image, no? That I am an important person. Why? I am from an IIM. Are? What is this stupid idea? What is an IIM? I mean, if you go up from the earth in an aeroplane, do you care about an IIM? Who cares? Or when you are dead, you are going, are you really worried about IIM or IIT? Or it's all Maya only, no? It's only a place to study. If you find a great teacher in a village, that is a better place to be in, no? Rather than being at IIM. Who cares about IIM, right? Amma lives in such a remote fishing, village. Why IIM postgraduates and Harvard postdoctorates are coming and bowing down to her? You follow what I'm saying? She has gone deeper. So deeper is higher. Those who are intelligent, they recognize that. But the modern youth, you are saying is they have lost touch with the reality. Right? They have come under the Western influence in the West. What happened? Hedonism dominates. Western world's main problem is hedonism dominates. They believe pleasure is happiness. They believe more is better. And they don't only say do it, but they say do it now. But do what? Gain more riches, gain more land, gain more power, gain more status, gain more following on the Instagram or Facebook, get more likes for your posts, get people to believe that you're having a super duper life. So you go to a 5-star hotel, not to enjoy, but to post the picture on the Instagram that I am in such and such a hotel. I have made it big. I bought an iPhone, the latest version. So I see people doing it. It's so funny, right? So higher is not deeper. Deeper is higher. Or higher is not happiness. Deeper is happiness. That's what I'm sharing today. And youth do not understand this today. Okay. Yeah, Raj? Sorry to interrupt you, but I thought I will just let this one.
No, sir, I think that was an important remark to add up to the conversation. Sir, again, how the manomayakosha is ruling, because of the absence of the consciousness or absence of the knowledge is something, which I learned as part of these 5 koshas, right? So I heard it in the past as well, but I could never connect to the deeper meaning of why each koshas are different and how this was explicitly given in our scriptures in the past. But today, it's easy for Vigyanamayokosha to get ruled by manomayakosha because it depends how that individual is perceiving the koshas. Like, for example, if I boost more of manomayakosha, naturally my intellect will take a backseat, which is easier. For example, if I want to be happy, if I want to be ignorant, I have to stop doing whatever I'm doing right now, just relax, eat, and naturally I'll go down as per the gravity of principle, right? It takes a lot for me to move from stage 3 to stage 4, which is from manomayakosha to Vigyanamayokosha. And it requires a mindfulness, it requires conscious efforts for an individual. And the question is how? So I think the answer is certainly to follow the nature, right? For example, in nature, if we look at any sort of creatures, right? So they have got a specific time to do everything. So they have got a specific time to eat, they have got specific time to sleep, they have got specific time to fly around. Like birds, for example, they don't stay awake after 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. It's very uncommon to see the whole group of birds still available in the nature because they're following the law of nature, wherein the humans are going against the nature. So I think this is where I want to stop and get your comments as well.
Yeah, so if you want physical well-being, where you are energetic and fit for, most of your lifespan as per the nature's plan. Let's say for a human being till age 70, 80, you are willing to or able to lead a happy and a very vigorous life, energetic life. If you want that life, then you have to follow that nature cycle. That is the wisdom that you are trying to share, right? And it is very true. So since we are a multi-layered being, for physical well-being, health, fitness, energy, and freedom from disease, we have to understand nature. We have to understand how our body is made, designed, and how it is meant to be cared for and used. What to eat, what not to eat, understanding my physical constitution, vata, pitta, kapha, etc., and accordingly choosing my food. Understanding my digestive cycle, how many hours it takes for my digestive cycle to digest which type of food, or if I have eaten something very heavy in nature, whether I need to skip the next meal or not. or to use fasting and fruits, and many things are there to teach you at the physical level. No, there are many things, naturopathy and so many sciences are there. I don't need to go there. So you need to learn all the methodologies to keep your body and energy level in a very good shape. The Anamayakosha and the Pranamayakosha. That is the learning from this one level. But we are also learning that is not enough. Because you may keep your body healthy and happy, but the emotions may get wounded because of over attachment to someone who may hurt you very deeply, or over attachment to someone who may suddenly die, or over attachment to your preconceived notions or ideas or fallacious ideas or attitudes and beliefs. So you may be healthy at the physical level, but you may be going haywire at the emotional level. So even that cannot be neglected, right? So to take care of the emotional level, we have to examine our emotional patterns and the underlying, judgments and interpretations. Because I have shared earlier that without interpretation, emotions cannot arise. I'm interpreting either now or I have interpreted already in the past with respect to familiar stimuli. So I have to use my cognition to go through all my emotional patterns. And as a result of that, get myself rid of automatic emotions, instinctive emotional reactions. So that is where I can move from reactive to responsive. Whether I'm reacting to life or I'm responding to life. That ability will come only when I'm able to use my cognition and evaluate my emotional patterns one by one. That is why in the hierarchy, the Vigyanamayokosha is above the manomayakosha. And nature or God or Mahamaya, whoever it is, it has made us in such a way that it becomes more and more difficult to access the higher levels of or deeper levels of the hierarchy. Everything on the outside is so tempting that it causes us to go out. It causes us to go out. And we are subject to so many pulls and pressures from outside. For example, the seasons, the weather, harshness of the climate that can affect my body, make me fall ill. So I need to know about medicines. So my dependence upon medicines and doctors, that is one part of the bondage. Then I'm a man, I need a woman, at a certain age to satisfy my certain urges. That again is a bondage. So you see, it's not as if nature is cooperating to help me become free. Nature is not designed like that. Nature basically wants to perpetuate itself. The species has to be perpetuated. That is why sexual attraction is such a powerful impulse which yogis want to transcend. Because they want to attain union with the beloved God. And they know that, they have to go beyond all these things. So, the chakra system was the Kundalini. So, the Swadhisthana chakra is where these, hormones get released, second level. But we want to reach Sahasrara and beyond. Those who have that craving, to find God, they are willing to sacrifice the lower pleasures to seek the higher pleasures. That is why, satsang was emphasized earlier days. Satsang was emphasized, keeping company with good people who are also seeking the same highest truth as you. You know what I'm saying, right? Because otherwise you may feel weird in a society where everyone is enjoying and having a nice time in the bar, and Raj is busy studying Bhagavad Gita, and everyone is making fun of you. This is a bloody fool. Why doesn't he enjoy his life? He has got so much money. Why is taking so much pains to study Bhagavad Gita? But that owl example you gave, you know why you're doing it, but they don't understand. So being a social being also, and being not so strong as of now, you may succumb to their ridicule. And become a part of that party, which you don't want to become. But then initially you become reluctantly a part of that party, and then slowly you lose your awareness, and then you again become unconscious. Gravity, it pulled you down. So this is the gravity. Now this is social gravity. Peer group pressure. We call it peer group pressure. So it requires enormous strength and willpower and intelligence. Iccha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, all three. to really, swim against the current, especially in Kali Yuga. But this knowledge that I am sharing with you helps you to stay firm on the path. That is the value of these classes. You know the mechanics of the beingness, human beingness. Now you understand more and more deeply what a human being means. It's a body, it's energy, it is the emotions, it is the cognition. And beyond all this is the bliss of the self. So now you know the power of spiritual path. You know the value of the spiritual path. You know why it is important for those who really want to attain the real bliss and not the false glitter of the outer maya. Why wise people say happiness is within? Why wise people say happiness is a choice? Because going within is a choice. Right? And happiness is within. So happiness is a choice because you can choose to go within. So now you are able to decode the mysteriousness of these statements. Why Amma said happiness is a choice? Because going within is a choice. So if you go within, you find happiness. As you go within, you reduce misery slowly. You forgive, you let go. You remind yourself again and again to come back to the present moment. You use your cognitive apparatus more and more. You become more and more clear. Now, Saschit can explain, I think, much better than me, how he has grown last 14, 15 years. He has been my student also, and earlier also he has been a seeker. He can perhaps share his journey. Saschit, you want to share for the sake of modern youth? You were a youth, right? Not long time ago.
Yeah.
So how you have grown in your happiness and what journey you have followed? Can you describe in 10 minutes?
10 minutes, I'll definitely try to only cover the major.
Your journey, like at such and such age, you were
Correct.
like this, and how you see yourself now.
Yeah, so it all began with the entire turning point for me happened when actually I met with an accident. During my 10th standard, I met with an accident and I was recovering. And during that time, my mom had been going, that's the time and chronology where she had started learning pranic healing, or she was exposed to a certain kind of group of people. And that's when, for the first time, she invited one of her friends who's a healer to, help me aid in my recovery process. So that is when, for the first time, I was receiving something such as healing. And it was extremely new to me. I was just a kid in 10th standard, and all of these things were extremely new. And I was trying to understand and being very curious about every aspect. And it is as important, even right now at this very seat, I'm being the utmost curious person as I was then. So I was just receiving it, and I still remember that was the first time when I started kind of observing or noticing something which is not necessarily very normal in the so-called other fellow kids of mine. So then suddenly I started seeing some sort of symbols while I was lying down and receiving the healing. Started seeing some sort of signs on the fan which was just above me. So I tried to explain. I'm trying to see some things like these, and then that's when I understood that these are actually the symbols with which the healing was being done. Those were Reiki symbols. So it all began with that. And then slowly, that's when I was trying to understand. It was very new to me, all of these aspects of what is this? What does this mean? How is all these things working? And then more and more as time kept going ahead, I joined my mom wherever possible in all of these kind of groups where such kind of, like what you mentioned, satsang. It was a group of people who were just seeking and trying to discover more and more clarity of what is the absolute truth. So I kind of kept getting exposed to various aspects like chanting, what are mantras, what is sound, how is sound, behaving, what impact it has. I was exposed to various things, and I chose a particular college. I had other opportunities to even join PSG, but within me, I had an absolute knowing. No, I don't have to join PSG. I know something is calling me to ASB. and I felt some sort of alignment. I had done,
ASB is Amrita School of Business. Those who may not know, right? Because
yeah,
larger audience is outside world there.
yeah. So I had absolutely no idea of why I am waiting for Amrita School of Business. I got options. I got confirmation from PSG also that I can join, etc., and all of it. But I waited for another month almost, and then I got the opportunity to be part of Amrita School of Business. At that point of time, I had no idea of why I'm doing that, or what is in store. I have absolutely no idea. None of my friends had studied there earlier. I had not asked any colleagues. Nothing. But then after I joined there, it was an additional absolute treat for me, because it was the most humbled professors that I met. It was the most humbled environment that I was put in. And they also gave equal importance to aspects like these that we're talking about. That's where I met even one of my most favorite person, which is you, also over there. And I was exposed to various other aspects of happiness, of, trying to... and a lot of aspects like clarity, which I was valuing, I really found it within you, because you have dealt so much of time and effort on each aspects of life, that you were able to effortlessly show and share keen insights about anything and everything that you were talking about. So that was very helpful for me. So that kept me going. And during my journey till college, I was also parallelly having the group which I was sharing with you about, where I was exposed to all the other things like chanting and healing and various other aspects, right? So it didn't happen over a period of day. All of these things and understanding of me able to understand what we're talking now a little better is because over a period of all these 15, 20 years, I've been uh, consuming all of these kind of knowledge through not necessarily books. I was not a book person, but through various videos, through groups, through practices, through chanting, through healing, through various other aspects, right? So I was gaining all of these knowledge slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly, and still we are in the same process. So now I'm able to understand it much more faster or much more clearer because of all of these years of efforts of consciously trying to understand these aspects of life. So that is one important thing. And yeah, I think...
How is it helping this growth in awareness or clarity? How is it helping you?
Okay, so yeah. So after college, obviously, like any other person, it's important to start a career and everything. And that also happened very effortlessly and a lot of blessings, right? So I never knew that I had chose HR as an opportunity because I wanted to do something related to people. I know that I don't want to do anything else, but at least something related to closer to people orientation is what I wanted to explore. And that's how I chose HR. And then I got the organization placement within ASB itself. I was lucky to be part of TCS in campus placements itself. And since then, I'm still working there. Uh, what differences happened is even in those times where I was in college, I used to perceive things very differently. Not necessarily, and especially in my class, I was the youngest usually because I'm a June born, so I was kind of put 1 year earlier into my education of sorts. So I used to be always the youngest, but then the way I perceive things and try to share aspects about learning at college or projects that I would do, that would also not necessarily be very usual to other people. It used to be something slightly different, or not everyone would appreciate it, or not everyone would kind of, be in that same wavelength. So that was, and as things kept going ahead, and I would share more of those aspects with others who would not really understand all of these aspects. It would also, like you said, ridicule was very easy, right? With my friends, with my school friends and everyone, they definitely like to drink. Every Saturday is a fixed day for them to party on Saturday nights, to drink, go out. And me being a social person, being a young part of that youth thing, it was very challenging for me. Even now, I seek that being accepted in the social gathering is also that constant pressure which is always there. Even those times I used to go out with them. I still would go out with them, hang out, go out at nights also sometimes, wherever possible, but only once in a while. But then I would not really kind of enjoy that, deep love. But the only enjoyment of the gaining that happened was the social acceptance part. But then luckily I didn't have to succumb to all these habits. I've definitely tried all of these things. It could be drinking, smoking, and all of it, but I never kind of fell into a habitual practice of all of it, and I never was able to see it as normal. Because of having that clarity that this is not really helpful. So that was one. Second, on the ridicule part, even if I would share, I started trying to create certain pages. And I remember during my second year in my MBA, I was really triggered with trying to reverse this aspect of news. News was always the bad news, is what people are excited about. And then I wanted to kind of reverse that, and I reversed those letters to be news is north, south, east, west, right? So I reversed it and I coined something like SPEN, where I was like, okay, let me abbreviate it to simply wise, enriching, nice. It's simply wise enough to enrich nice things. So I wanted to share more of nice content and wise content to everyone, rather than only popularity of news being as a content that is being consumed. And part of it, I used to even share a lot of these things which I used to observe, and then I started seeing a lot of symbols in nature. For example, one of it was the heart symbol and all of it. I used to see all of these heart symbols a lot. Even till now, I cannot decode what that communication is and give it to you, but in a very exact way. But then I kind of shared that a lot. For that also, I would kind of get a lot of ridicule because not everyone would understand. And this was at least 10 years back. That time, this was not very common for everyone. But now things are changing slowly, even in the social media, where more and more people are talking about all of these aspects about spirituality, about how the universe is trying to communicate to you constantly, and various other aspects.
So that heart symbol you saw 10 years ago was God reaching out to you.
Yeah, correct. And even today, I see that, and then not only heart symbols, but various other symbols also, which not might be very common.
Why I'm making this point is because, in case someone is hearing you for last 10 minutes, I am on YouTube right now. This video is going out, right? If someone has been hearing you, for them I'm saying that what happens now, as you reach a certain level of inner purity and development, God starts to take interest in you and he starts to communicate. This also finds a place in Jung's theory of personality, which he calls synchronicity. Synchronicity start to happen in your life, and this synchronicity is nothing but God bringing things together miraculously for you to understand that a higher reality, God Almighty, is taking interest in you, so that you get encouragement on the path, because this path is tough to travel on. It is a miracle that two of you have stuck through thick and thin for almost 1 year, because I am a very abstract teacher. I am teaching something which is way beyond the grasp of most people or interest of most people, because it's very boring. Apparently, it's very boring because I'm talking about the inner realities which are very, very way beyond reach of the most of the youth. But those who are intelligent seekers, for them it is very fascinating, though it's painstaking. It's not like eating, ice creams and bananas. You have to really strive to get even 1 inch of clarity, extra clarity. Okay. So, but the beauty of this process is that as you go deeper, you really gain height in terms of clarity and, happiness. Your happiness is more durable, more sustainable, and social pressure or peer pressure, there is no other way to transcend except to gain the spiritual strength, which comes from spiritual depth. So without spiritual strength, you can't overcome social pressure, and without spiritual depth, you can't get spiritual strength, and without going within, you can't get depth. So it all boils down to a decision to go within. Right. Now, the urge to go within or an event which triggered this journey, like in your case, the 10th illness or accident, that also is grace. So this mother choosing Reiki or pranic healing as a path, and these pranic healers coming to your life, it is grace. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that any yogi who does not reach the very end of the journey and they die in the midway. Arjuna asked him, what happens to them? Krishna says, I again bring them to a family where everyone else is a seeker and they get a very auspicious environment where they again start their journey. And I make it a point that, I keep giving them repeatedly good births, birth after birth, so that they keep making progress till they come to me one day. So very fact that your life has had such synchronicities, tells me that you are meant to reach greater depths. Same with Raj also. Okay. Because you find it so interesting. I find it so interesting. So we are blessed people that we find it so interesting in this Kali Yuga, right? On a Sunday, who sits and discusses all these boring things for 2 hours?
Definitely.
All right. But when you understand that, you are doing something which is a very good thing and you're enjoying also, because it's not only an intellectual understanding, you're also enjoying something, right? So my question to you will be, are you enjoying greater happiness today compared to 20 years ago? Are you happier today, Sachit?
Yes, sir, definitely. A lot of change has definitely been there. Definitely more happier, more lighter, right? Because 20 years back, if I didn't have this built up of everything that we've been learning experientially and all of this knowledge, it would have been very easy to be caught up more and more into, all the other desires and the worldly things which is happening around you. But now, it is not that these things are not happening around me. The things, life is throwing everything at us, everything at me also. But it is little more easier to, let go of those things. It is more easier because of clarity, like you said. If I know that this is not really beneficial to me, it's easier for me to work on it and let go of it, like forgiveness or various other categories that are there. So it has definitely been much more easier to, transcend those aspects of life.
So are there some people or some friends or relatives who also have become motivated or inspired by your example, or who no longer ridicule you and compliment you also?
Uh,
Or show appreciation also that you have
my
given?
my wife definitely. So she has also been able to understand more of these things. She had her own again journey of seeking, trying to understand more of these aspects, and she now understands that yes, this is more important.
At
And
workplace, among your close friends?
yeah, at workplace also there were many people who would ridicule, right? So anytime all these things that I kept sharing, I kept taking those efforts, but huge way people would, ridicule and oppose that. What is this? This is funny. This is very random. This is not necessarily so and so. But then it was very evident and clear that they definitely know that there's something else happening around. They definitely were able to appreciate that despite everything, even we are facing those challenges, but this person is able to be still calm and happier. We are facing the same waves that we face at our work or at our personal lives. But this guy is able to, be much more calmer and more happier than relative to the other people around. So they were able to see that.
Did some people share also this appreciation that you are able to, how you are able to remain so calm?
Definitely, one or two have definitely couple of them have started pointing out that, okay, we have always seen you only very happy and chill. So that has always been your quality, no matter what. So they are able to mention that, yes.
Okay, that's good, very good. Raj, how about you?
Sir,
Not
of course.
10 years, not 10 years or 5 years, but let's say since last year. I mean, because you are one of the most keenest students that I have, right? So tell me, so how has last 1 year been? Do you
Sir,
find yourself happier, growing in awareness, depth? What is happening in your family, wife, relatives, friends, brother, sister?
absolutely. Sir, I'm able to draw more meanings. Sir, if I have to start from my um, my thought process about the humans, right, sir? The fundamental role or fundamental responsibility of a person that I found was in a teacher. Because for me, since my childhood, following a teacher has given me happiness. For example, my friends used to tell me, hey, this is not working for me. But anything that I used to diligently follow, especially the rules laid out by my teachers, has always worked for me. Sir, if I talk about the last 1 year, what I have found is more meaningful in my approach, more deeper insights to the life. And what do people feel around me? Of course, I have not heard many people talking about it, but one feedback that I received from my wife is I'm more calmer compared to earlier one. And off late, I started speaking to my daughter, who is 13 years old, about some of the teachings that you share. Maybe I condense it because at her age, it's too you know heavy for her to understand. So I make it as a biteable size, and I share some of the insights. But it reassures me because she would be able to sit with me for about 1 hour, 2 hours, and she's showing a lot of interest. If a 13-year-old kid can, grasp so much, only the extracts what I share from your sessions, your classes, if it is giving her so much of happiness and she's listening, she's not running away from me, or she never told me that it's very boring the topic that you are discussing with me. Because whenever she comes to me with any school related issues, with her friends fighting in the sports games and so on, I take examples from here and then tell her why people are different, how people are different, and how you should think. It's difficult for you to change everyone, but it's easier for you to change yourself. That way people will start slowly seeing those changes. So when I take some of these examples and apply to a 13-year-old kid, sir, being a close to 40 years old person, it is actually bringing a lot of changes in my life. And as Saschit said, I'm also in human resources. Maybe nothing is random, as you say. So Sachit and I are from human resources, um, and we deal with a lot of people. I lead a team of 60 plus people, and certainly the one question that I get from my direct reports stating, we never see you getting angry about anybody, and how do you manage it? You manage so many people, you manage so many things, so many responsibilities. So I think I'm getting more strength from your sessions, sir. That is what I would say. See, the most powerful thing what I heard from your previous class. Of course, every class I come with a lot of expectations. Of course, no pressure on you, but for sure I have the conviction that in each class I'll be able to learn something from you, something from your session, and maybe go back and relate to so many other things. Last week you told me that there are 100 billion neurons in a human brain, and don't worry about don't think about, you'll not be able to learn everything in life. Your brain has so much of capacity. Never People never told me about it, or neither I read about this. Even I had that fear that, hey, if I put more pressure on myself, I'll not be able to manage my weekend. I'll not be able to take enough rest again, go back on Monday and deliver my things. But I have more confidence in me that even if I have to learn another subject over the weekend, I'll be able to manage. It's all about how we see things. And there are practicalities, there are push that is required. I think I'm getting that push from your sessions. So I'm getting more strength. Fitness is just not for the body. Even the fitness of the mind is more important. And how do we get it? Example, sir, if somebody has to find 1000 people who are unconscious. Today is a Sunday, right? If anybody visit a bar, in every bar, big bars, people will find about 50 to 100 people. In 10 minutes, people can find those 1000 people who are sitting in a bar, drinking, smoking, wasting their time. But in my opinion, finding one good teacher, it takes for lifetime. Even if we find one good teacher throughout the lifetime, I think that's a blessing, I would say. Another thing, what I have noticed in my life, sir, is as Saschit said, I have hung out with friends in various parts of my life, but it never gave me happiness. I always felt that no, this is not the true happiness. People are just simply wasting time, sitting, somewhere in the corner, wasting their time, chit chatting, wasting time speaking about third person who is not even there, and that person is not even listening to the conversation these people are having. End of the day, they're speaking, they're forgetting. So my question was always, while we are speaking, forgetting, and not really making sense, neither have guts to go and speak to that person, then should we even waste time? That was one question. And can I use the same time, about my growth? It could be in any form. Maybe, going back and opening English dictionary, picking some vocabulary, or shall I go and look at some of the principles in HR, which will directly help my job? So my brain always thought about learning something new and so on and so forth. So coming back to last 1 year, sir, I think it's very difficult for me to quantify and showcase the world that I have made progress, and that is not my intent as well. It's important that how am I growing spiritually? Because two parts to the life. The first portion is what is that we are doing in this lifetime. The second portion is soul is cyclical, right? So next birth again it will take. If we are incomplete, it will again strive for the completion. And That way, nothing is waste in terms of spiritual growth or doing something positive in this lifetime. So these are some of the aspects.
Okay. Very good. So you feel some progress is happening. You feel happier, calmer. Wife is also telling you also feel like that. You don't
Yes.
become angry at the workplace. That is spiritual strength. I agree. Something good is happening, right? So now, in my experience, what happens is that, as you gain more and more depth of awareness, which is only possible, to start with by applying your cognitive apparatus, the Vigyanamayokosha, because that is why, human beings have been made more intelligent by divine. The purpose was that only, that you are able to analyze your behavior, your thought patterns, your attitude, your beliefs, your values, and try to understand the deeper realities, right? And make good choices. The viveka, is a very good quality which is very highly, you know, evaluated by the rishis. Vivek or viveka, that belongs to the intellect. So the reality, spiritual reality, is that there is an Atman or soul, which is at the core of every human being. But that Atman or that soul is oblivious of its real nature. It has been gripped by Maya. And even though the life is flowing from the soul towards the body, the soul is not aware of this. Okay. And as a result of that, soul is lying in avidya, in the darkness of avidya. Right? So it's called the forgetfulness of the Atman. It has become forgetful of its real nature, real stature. And so it has become encased in these 5 seats. So the theory is that this soul being encased in 5 seats is not a conscious decision by the soul. Okay. Now Raman Maharshi, Buddha did not talk about the soul, but at least Buddha told that when you are suffering from a, wounded, you are wounded by an arrow, poisoned arrow. Don't ask me who shot the arrow and all that. I have told earlier, right? Let me treat you. Ramana also, used to say that it's pointless to ask meaningless questions. You are in trouble, you are in pain, you are in misery, you want to be liberated. That is the only relevant thing. How you became trapped in this Maya is an irrelevant question. Or when did it happen, no one knows. But the point is, in the present moment, this is the reality. And now you don't experience it, but you can at least trust those people who have found this and who have been able to liberate themselves. Amma, Sai Baba, Ramana, so many people in this country, especially we are lucky to have so many such enlightened souls. They are telling us from their personal experience. And when we meet these people, we can feel a certain power emanating from them, spiritual power, which is transformative in nature. That has what kept the faith going in Sanatana Dharma, right? Faith in enlightenment, faith in spiritual teachers, spiritual teaching, faith in dharma, etc. So this is the reality. But soul directly cannot come into picture because it is too much buried in the darkness, avidya. That is why, classes like this, teachers like me become relevant, books like Bhagavad Gita become relevant because we are accessible, like people like me, Bhagavad Gita and such, satsang groups, etc. We are accessible to the intelligent person. The intelligent person with a bright intellect can see by simple observation that people around are not happy. Like Raj told, people around are generally wasting their time. And by doing this, ultimately life will get over. You will lose all your time and you will have no growth. And since you now know that if you don't go up, you will go down. If your consciousness doesn't become more refined, it will become more gross. And since you know that soul is eternal, you will take a rebirth. But since you have not grown but have become grosser, next birth will be far worse than this. Now you know this. So what is intelligent thing to do? It's very simple. Grow spiritually. So that decision is now taken care of logically. Then we come to the path, we start doing this development, like Saschit is doing for 20 years, and then we start gaining the benefit. We become calmer, happier, more relaxed. Now people are complimenting you. They can see that something different is there inside you. You are able to take the stress of modern life, a company like TCS, much better than other colleagues. Right? So this is the spiritual wealth that you have gained. Because spirit is completely transcendent in nature. Right? And you are able to transcend your immediate circumstances to some extent. What does it mean? Your chitta has become more pure. Spirit is shining with greater power in you. And as a result, you are able to remain calm. Right? So as we go further, I'm again taking the thread from where I stopped. So as you go deeper and you reach the Vigyanamayokosha and start to use it properly, you are able to take charge of the manomayakosha and slowly help yourself in letting go of the unnecessary vrittis, mental emotional formations, belief systems, superstitions, irrational values, irrational beliefs. For example, I have known students who before meeting me were chasing success, glamour, power, and now they are chasing happiness or wisdom or peace or spirituality. Many students are there like that who I have been able to influence to such an extent. They may not come to these classes, but doesn't mean I have not been able to influence them. Because coming on a Sunday for 2 hours is very, very strong commitment. But it doesn't mean that they don't love me or they don't watch these videos for 10 minutes, 15 minutes every now and then. There are many like that, right? So I have been able to influence them to some extent, which shows that there are intelligent people around and we should not give up hope. And only thing is that we should try to develop ourselves and help build a community. Perhaps that is the next thing to do, if possible. Like using online resources, build a community of like-minded people. That is how every satsang group organizes themselves. And take the work forward if you really want to serve society. Okay. But the main service that you are doing is that you are choosing this and you are being a role model to others. You are showcasing yourself as someone who is doing this. For example, some of your TCS teammate may see you on this YouTube video and may recognize it is Saschit. He's my teammate, or he's working in my organization. Like that. So no, that is not a bad thing at all. You should feel happy about it. I hope you feel happy about it. You see, and he's coming on a Sunday. So like that. It's not a bad thing. I am doing this every Sunday, every other Sunday at least. So my relatives, slowly, they now know that actually I really mean business. I am not someone who's simply doing a job. I really believe in what I'm doing. It's having a good influence upon my family, my children, for example. Right? Now, what can be more fruitful to me? My children are growing up nicely. So benefits are so many, right? I am myself gaining more and more clarity, more and more merit, as Amma says. And because of the efforts that I am making, maybe attracting more and more grace. So, in one of these classes, I will talk about grace also. So grace is very important. Maybe, I'll start talking about grace. So grace has been a very important factor in my life. Saschit, what you experienced, that Reiki healing was a grace. And this group that you have is a grace. Because you have learned and you have experienced the power of chanting and mantras and Reiki healing, and you have seen healings, maybe even miraculous in nature. So I am sure that no one needs to convince you that energy healing works.
Yes.
Whether modern science believes or not, but you know for a fact that energy healing works, right? So that's a good knowledge, no?
Definitely.
Where other people may give up, you may not give up because you have still, got access to a divine source. So like that. So, spiritual path leads us to deeper and deeper discoveries day by day. Like I have discovered by now that, God really loves me very deeply and is really guiding me day by day, minute by minute. And so much so that now even my external circumstances are being taken care of. My health is recovering by leaps and bounds. I've been chronically ill for many, many decades. But now finally I am recovering from all my illnesses. And I believe by this year, end of this year, I'll be completely recovered. So ultimately, grace is showing its, presence more and more, more and more. Meditations have become more and more blissful, and limitlessly blissful now. So much so that, now I'm getting messages from Amma, Sai Baba that, you really focus upon your inner development now. So much so that it may be that I may even take a break from my active career, professional career, to focus more upon my meditation, so that I can sit in meditation for 10 hours, 8 hours. But right now I cannot do it, right? So now when I sit, I have to very with a heavy heart come out of my meditation and go to college. I don't want to come out, because I know that I am gaining maximum when I'm immersed in samadhi. Okay. So it's not only about now insights, it's also about the simple fact of explosive growth of spiritual presence inside my inner being, So that is happening now. So now even the most deepest illnesses inside the system, Raj will know this. When Ketu gives an illness, when Ketu, in a planet called Ketu gives an illness in astrology, you cannot find a cure in any medical system. You cannot be cured in any medical system. Whether it is Ayurveda or Siddha or homeopathy or doesn't matter. So in my horoscope, Ketu is in Virgo. Okay. And it is in 11th house. And it is Vargottam, means in Avans also it is in the same house. So my chronic illnesses, and in my 5th house, Rahu, Shani and Mars are sitting. So 5th house is stomach, liver, Raj will know, stomach and liver. And 11th house, Ketu is sitting, aspecting the 5th house. Okay. But saving grace is 5th lord, which is dispositor for the 5th house, is Jupiter. Because I am a Scorpio Lagna. The 5th house is Pisces. So Jupiter is sitting in 10th house, aspected by Sun, 10th lord. Okay. So because of this, I did not die of my stomach ailment. Jupiter protected me and Sun protected me. Okay. And Virgo is also a sign of healing, doctors. And Ketu is sitting in Virgo, gave me tremendous illness from childhood, which I cannot recover through me. I have tremendous knowledge of medicine, but all my knowledge is helpless against this illness. I am not able to cure myself. I can cure everyone around me, but not myself. But my knowledge of medicine has helped me to live so long and continue. But now, another thing is that why Ketu gives such illness or such pain is because Ketu wants liberation. Now I know today that if I could be cured by medicine without reaching the spiritual depth where I have reached, that will be a tragedy. Now, when I was younger, I used to pray for cure, some miraculous cure. Okay. But no, to be truthful, you should believe me, I have never prayed to God to cure me. This is the one prayer I have never made to Amma. I have never made to Sai Baba. I have never made to God, because I have always believed that I have to suffer my karma. Okay. But I have made tremendous efforts to cure myself using my knowledge, using my own understanding, lifestyle change, everything that is possible for me to do it. So except for tea drinking, which I take once or twice a day, I have no other addiction. And sometimes when health becomes a little bit, this thing, acidity increases, I will quit tea also for 3-4 days. But again and again, I take it because I love tea. I'm not able to let go of it, and I don't even need to let go of it now. Okay. God says you can keep your tea. Okay. That exception Ketu is making. But my point is that if I had not reached such depths which I have reached now, and if my illness had got cured, I will be unlucky soul. So this illness is a blessing that I am now realizing. God forced me to be in pain for more than 40 years so that I keep searching for a cure. Now, as a result of that, I became a very, very good doctor. I have been able to help so many hundreds of people. I understand the mechanics of health much, much deeper, much, much better. Pranamaya and Anandamaya and how they're governed by manomayakosha and vigyanomaya and how bliss helps to heal. All that I know experientially. The result of that, I understand, the signs of healing. Perhaps, I don't know how to put it, much, much deeper than most of the doctors. I can really see what a medicine can do. In homeopathy, every medicine, that is there. I can see what that medicine can do and cannot do. And also how to use Ayurveda and naturopathy along with homeopathy, along with meditation, along with prayers, along with crystals, holistically to heal virtually anything. So that knowledge came because of this pain. And the spiritual depth also came because of the pain, because I want to get rid of this pain. So I have to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And in that process, what happened? Patience increased enormously. Because initially, when I was experiencing, divinity, initially in the few years, beginning years, I expected miracles to happen instantaneously. This illness to vanish, by end of this day or by tomorrow. But this has been happening for now almost 15, 16, 17 years. And then a middle phase came when you become disenchanted with God. That I'm experiencing you for 5 years, but still I'm not cured. What is the use? I heard God is omnipotent. Then I have to go through that frustration that God is not omnipotent initially. Then I understand after a few months, God is not omnipotent the way I think it is. God is still omnipotent, but not in the way in which I had imagined it to be. Okay. And instantaneous cure is not what is the meaning of omnipotence. Then as I matured even more, this realization came. In fact, instantaneous healing is not very good. Because without the corresponding learning, what is the use of healing? If I get healed of the physical ailment, but the soul is still not clear about the nature of reality, what is the use? It will again create that illness again because of ignorance. So, root cause of illness has to be eradicated, which is avidya. So, when Ketu gives you a illness, avidya has to be eradicated. Only then, Ketu gets the nectar which it wants to drink for thousands of years. And what is the nectar? Nectar is God itself. So one class I had told, God comes as a gift, never goes back. That's what I meant. And God comes in quantities. The Thorndike, if something exists in a quantity, it's very true. Very true. At its plane, it is infinite. But when it is experienced in my plane where I exist in the physical body, it comes in quantity. So I can say that some Amma is experiencing God in a huge quantity. And I am experiencing God in much lesser quantity. It makes sense. The statement makes sense. Even though God is infinite. So God is infinite in its own dimension. But when I am experiencing God in my body, there is a limit to which I am able to experience today. Okay. And Amma is maybe experiencing the whole ocean in her being. And in a way, she is one with the ocean and is still a being. Okay. So one becomes more and more transparent, and one more becomes more and more receptive and more one. So that is what Rama means, unity with the beloved. When the unity with the beloved is established, there is only love, light, joy, and peace, which is the nature of God. Am I making sense to you, Sachit?
Yes, absolutely.
So what we are doing is we are cultivating greater and greater depth of union with truth, which is another name for God. Raj, how about you?
Sir, certainly it is making a lot of sense, especially even from the astrological aspects of it. So Ketu is one of the secretive planets. Most of the times in astrological terms, there is a specific subject called medical astrology, wherein many doctors, they would practice medical astrology to treat patients. Even for them, the challenging part is detection of the diagnosing the disease itself becomes very difficult when Ketu has a powerful positioning in the horoscope. That way, especially sixth house being house of we also call it as Roga, house of Roga, right? Sixth house is Roga, and where Ketu sits there, it extremely makes it very complicated for even for doctors to diagnose the ill itself. So I think you're right, sir. Meaning sometimes all these illness and the accidents, as Saschit said, even which I also go through. Probably, when the divinity wants our attention, when it wants to attract us, maybe it gives a sort of pain, and then gives that time for the recovery. At the same time, our mindset will change, and more sort of spiritual aspects will come into our this one. I think pain is deeply associated with the consciousness, because if somebody is not being consciousness, maybe nature will give that pain and then attract the attention. Then correct that person to come back to the spirituality. So this is my observation.
Yeah, so what happens now? There is something called, what is it? Pravritti and nivritti. So some souls are on pravritti path in the sense that they are still going outwards. So divinity is taking them outwards, giving them more and more worldly experiences, worldly success, worldly pleasures, right? But then there are old souls whom divinity is guiding towards inner journey, anivritti. So I am an old soul who is being guided to go inner for many, many years in my life, in this current life at least. And maybe you guys also are like that. You also love to go within, right? So idea is that Rahu, which is called the shadow or the chaya, is our self-image, basically, the ego. It thinks that it knows. It thinks that happiness is outside. It is worried more about the outer achievement, the power, the accomplishment, the glory, right? Not knowing that the real happiness is within. And Ketu is the guy which is basically suffering because, it wants union with the truth. So when its turn comes, in our life, it gives hard knocks to the Rahu fellow, that delusionary self, that wake up, this is not the way. You take care of me, I'm in pain, I'm suffering. So it attracts the attention of the Rahu or the conscious ego. No, it will break its leg or force it to go through an accident, or the company will lay him off, or great recession will hit and suddenly he will, become bankrupt. Such things, such crises, such situations also are, caused by Sunny, Ketu, Rahu, etc. But idea is that what Raj is trying to say, to make it simpler, is that sometimes nature brings such things to us. Now it is our decision to call it a curse or a blessing. Now my illness was a curse to me for many, many years. I'm not saying that I was calling it a blessing 20 years ago. No, I was not that mature. I'm not claiming that. But today, when I look in hindsight, having grown so much in spiritual terms, I can understand that what a blessing it was. What that Vargottam Ketu in my horoscope sitting in Virgo means. It means that I am meant to become a great doctor, healer myself, and I am meant to become self-realized if I want to break free from this pain. And God doesn't want me to be cured by a doctor. And I also understand that why instinctively or intuitively I never prayed to God for health. I prayed, to God for strength, for guidance, for wisdom, for maturity, for love, for every other thing, for spiritual growth, but never to cure me. I have gone to Amma so many times, but I have never prayed to her, knowing fully well that I only have to pray to Amma. Whatever I pray to Amma, she grants me. So I know for many years I only have to go to Amma and tell her in my heart, Amma, it is enough of this pain, please take it away. She will take it away. But intuitively I know it is not good for me, Raj. Can you believe me? I don't know whether you believe me or not, but this is true. My Jupiter deep down, my Jupiter is very strong in my horoscope. Deep down knows, the wisdom part in me knows that no, this pain is a gift by God. I should not pray to God to take it away. If he takes it away today, he will give it again next birth. I don't want that. I want to get rid of it here and now with growing in my awareness. I could not state it so clearly 10 years ago. But something in me, in my deepest recesses of my unconscious level, some wisdom is there which is preventing me from praying for this one thing. The one greatest trouble of my life, my stomach ailment, which has ruined my 40 years plus. So, so something in me prevented me from, praying for this. And I don't know, viewers who may be watching this, they may think I'm a weird person, but some of them who are wise enough, they will understand what I'm saying. So somewhere I knew that my life, the way it is going, filled with so many synchronicities and so many evidences in the initial part of my life, maybe in my student days, when I knew God is very interested in me, okay? And he's actively guiding me from that stage to a stage where I could see that my prayers are being answered by God. Then to a stage where I could see that this blessing that I am able to get a job in this day and age in a university like Amrita University, where Amma herself is an enlightened being. Then I am able to teach courses like ethics and SAPG and happiness in this Kali Yuga, it itself is a grace, it's an amazing miracle. And something greater than me is taking a lot of interest and lot of care in me. Slowly, all that confirmed me in my path. And then as I grew in meditation, something kept telling me that I should not pray for this one thing, which is to tell God to heal me of my illness. I never prayed for this one thing. I was a Hanumanji devotee. I never prayed to him about this before knowing Amma. I was a Sai Baba devotee. I never prayed to him for this. Am I a stupid person? No. Deep down, something prevents me from even thinking about this. Now, if you are able to trust me, you can imagine how much love I have for God. 40 years of nightmare, I am able to take just for love of God. And I know if I ask God, He will give it to me, but I will not ask. Because something in me tells me it's not correct thing to ask. God has given it to me for some purpose. Okay. But the clarity with which I am telling now, that clarity, was it there 10 years ago, 5 years ago? No. That will be a lie. Not even 5 years ago. Why I am telling this particularly is because even I am growing. So that the viewer who is watching this need not be deceived into believing that I know everything. No, it's not like that. I'm also growing with my students. More I teach, more I learn. More I learn, more I grow. More I grow, more I experience God. More I experience God, more I become safe. Safe from what? Financial insecurity? No. Safe from falling. Safe from falling. Because if I were driving the car can meet an accident. But if God is driving the car is in safe hands. It's like that. Today I was feeling reluctant. I was feeling lazy a little bit. I was thinking I should cancel today's class. And exactly at that time, Raj's WhatsApp message came. Sir, are you okay? Everything good? And I knew that God wants me to take the class. You see, I posted the message so late today because I was feeling a little bit lazy, because my son's board exams are going on. I have been working with him also, a lot. I thought I'll take this week off. And then, I knew that next week, maybe I will not take class because his math exam will be on the next day. Maybe I will not take the next Sunday's class. Knowing that also, still I felt a little bit, prick of guilt. But still I was stubborn enough to think, no, let me take off because I don't feel like. Then Raj's message came. You see, then God's guidance. I understood. Immediately I said, no, really, I'm taking the class. Why I can react like that? Because I know it is God's will, not my will. So in my life now, if it is God's will and my will, whose will prevails? You know the answer now. It's God's will, not my will. So surrender of will is a very important stage in spiritual development. So if you want to do something and you feel strange things are preventing you from doing it, know it for sure that God doesn't want you to go ahead and do it. He will try once or twice. Okay, God will not try more than twice. That if you don't get the message, He will let you do it. But then you suffer the consequences. But if you take the message, like Saschit has been watching these omens, hearts and all those things. If you take the omen and not do it, you will later realize why God did not make you, or why He tried to prevent you from doing it. Okay. Don't get hell-bent upon achieving something which you think is important. If something higher than you is preventing you from getting it, don't get it. Don't do it. Okay. My life, I have had so many experiences, hundreds of such experiences. Okay. And the beauty of God is that even if I try my level best to defy Him, He lets me defy Him, but He never goes away from my life. He knows this fellow is crazy, he will again come back to his senses. So I'll suffer my pain, get my painful lessons, and then I'll come back again. But God is always waiting. He never goes away. So last point I will make today is that, once you have attained the grace of God, that grace of God will never let you down. So Raj, something tells me you attained the grace of God because it is because of you that today's class happened. And the last week's dream that you shared with me, both these incidents tell me that somehow, you are grace of God towards me because you are causing me to take classes. And I also know God's intention. He has prepared me for taking these classes. That is why these ideas come to me so effortlessly. Saschit was telling, no? Maybe it is because of God's grace upon me that these ideas come to me so effortlessly. It's not my achievement, it's God's grace. Okay. So in a way, I am, being used by God to teach these things. And now I know that I need to learn more so that I can teach better. Okay. So my life path is very clear and I am being guided by God. So let me stop at this point. Saschit has raised his hand. So I will answer Sachit's question, then class is over. Yes,
Not a question. Just that, I mean, I'm also able to observe all of these n number of synchronicities that come through all the time. And they are so numbered now that, we don't tend to keep count, or count is gone by. We don't tend to kind of, really to keep track. What else I wanted to mention is, every time you also speak about, you've been highlighting about Buddha and the point of, certain aspects, and you said that you don't have anything against him, but there's a certain limitation to which that particular literacy of what Buddha has shared and what he didn't dwell into, it stops to a certain limit of him not going beyond the aspect of void and all of those aspects which you mentioned. It always internally keeps kicking me, like how you said everything is connected, right? So for example, Raj had messaged you, you got the message that, okay, no, today I'll go ahead with this class.
I was about to write, I will not take the class today, and his message popped in.
Exactly. So
At that instant. So I knew God's message.
So similarly, I mean that in the same manner, sir. Every time you spoke about it, it's the third time that this is coming up, and I am getting that kick on my butt, saying that I have a book, I have a particular material on Buddha, which it just keep on repeating right now to coming to me that I need to start reading it and share more about it with you as well. I don't know why, but I will share that with you soon. And it's kicking me that I need to invest my time into reading that as well, because this is not it's not a book, but it is about, I told you that I was in those groups which had been mentioned, and those are experiences that have been written down. So those were meditations and connections that have been made with the entity themselves, and they started writing it down. So this is a direct, transcript from what Buddha is trying to share about his own experience. So I have that material with me.
Someone is a medium who is writing what Buddha is sharing.
Yeah, Buddha's experience, what he wanted to share. So
I will respond in this way, that I am responding to Buddha's interpretation by his or her disciples or followers.
Yeah.
Now, what Buddha himself realized, only Buddha will know.
Yeah.
What we are getting the second hand, third hand information from Buddhist texts.
Yeah.
What they are describing about the void. As I have been telling, I have had special blessings of God. Sai Baba directly told me, not about Buddha, but the fact that if you don't love God, if you only follow the path of the intellect, you will reach the void. So Buddha had perhaps the most powerful intellect on the planet ever. And I don't believe there has been a more brilliant man than Buddha. Okay. So his intellect was phenomenally powerful. So using the intellect, and since he did not have faith in God, he did not have faith in anything, because he was a scientist. He did not want to believe anything unless he is able to examine, which is a good attitude. With a rather sharp brain or mind, he meditated for 6 years and he reached the very core of Maya, which is true. Maya is Maya, everything in Maya is dependent upon something else. He really stripped Maya of all its illusionary properties. But since it was intellect doing the examination, it could not go beyond itself. That's the idea. So what is void? Void is the space. Okay. So space is the fifth element. Is God space? No, God is not space. God is beyond space. So intellect, if you notice, what is your intellect? If you just notice right now, you close your eyes, both of you just notice. Your intellect is nothing but a space which is using your brain. You can just notice. And that space is carrying a lot of preconceived knowledge, memories, ideas. So it is space using your brain. That is called intellect. Okay. Because if it were God using the intellect, your thinking will be very pure. But no, it is a space using the intellect. This is Ganesha's old head. It needs to be cut. And then Shiva has to pour into it. God has to pour into it. The Gayatri mantra says, no, dhimahi dhiyo yona prachodayat. In this cave of the intellect, O divine light, come and shine and illuminate me. So do you experience that illumination in your brain? You will not experience, right? That is what is the shortcoming of Buddhist practices, the way it is practiced today. I will be very happy to read what Buddha is telling now, because 2500 years have gone by, right? I will be very happy to read what he says.
Sure.
Because, for a self-realized being, I am a self-realized being. I don't need anyone else to tell me what is true. I'm experiencing truth, right? It's called self-realization. It's not called, anything else. It's a realization. I have realized. It's not that I'm telling second-hand something. Okay. But reading is very important. Cognition is very important, because Hari Anant, Hari Katha Ananta. You can know the Hari, but it's beautiful to read even Hari's Katha in multiple shades, layers. Because, for example, to treat a lung cancer patient standing in front of me, I need Hari's Katha, knowledge of medicines, right? If I only use, let's say, pranic healing or Reiki healing or something like that, where I'm using my own aura to heal, then I have to share the karma. So if I plunge headlong into it without any awareness of whether I have got the spiritual strength to deal with it, I should not, no, it will be suicide, no? Even if you can mold energies and play with energies, still awareness is needed. Also, are you a clairvoyant also? Like Sai Baba was. He was showing disinterest in that brother-in-law. No, I told that story. You remember that tuberculosis patient? So you simply do not go about healing anyone and everyone. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, the depth of reality is very, very humongous. We should never become smug about it. And at your stage, Saschit, you should read anything that you're prompted to read. There's a reason why you're being prompted to read. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Okay. Shall we end here?
Sure, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye, Saschit, Sohan.
Yeah, bye, Raj. Thanks.